Welcome back. It's not just the presidential race or battle for Congress on the ballot. Tomorrow, voters in several states are set to decide on a number of ballot measures, including some that could shape the future of drug policies in America.
Marijuana, of course, has already been legalized for recreational or medical use in nearly half the country, and now it is on the ballot in 4 more states. And in Massachusetts, where cannabis is already legal, voters will now decide if psychedelics should be legalized.
Joining us now for more on this, CNBC reporter Brandon Gomez. Brandon, good to have you with us. So let's start in Florida. They got Amendment 3 that would legalize recreational marijuana in Florida. Former President Trump made some headlines when he said he's going to vote yes on this one. What should we know about it?
Yeah, and what's interesting about former President Trump's comments is that he not only said he would vote yes on the legalization at the state level, but also that if he was president, he would seek reclassification at the federal level, right? In Florida, they're voting on whether or not they're going to allow recreational use for adults who are 21 years of age or older. Now, there's a little bit of concern from the opposing side saying that, you know, the public consumption could be an issue. The state of New York is always pointed to the idea that you can always sort of smell cannabis, smell people smoking marijuana out in public. They don't want that same thing to happen in Florida. But on the opposite side, those who are in favor of it are saying that's not going to happen here. It's already been a legalized market at the medicinal level, and so there's less concern in terms of the adoption of the drug for recreational use.
Smelled it on the streets a couple times yesterday. All right, so we should ask then Vice President Harris, when it comes to this issue of cannabis reform, where does she stand?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at track record, I mean, she has definitely been supporter of federal reclassification longer than, say, President Trump has been. She currently, in her role with the Biden administration, has been pushing for federal reclassification of the drug. Right now, it's classified alongside drugs like heroin. A reclassification would put it more in line with drugs like Tylenol with codeine or steroids, which would open up research opportunities as well for the medicinal use purposes.
We've also got marijuana on the ballot in Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota. Tell us about those measures.
Yeah, so those are a little bit different, but also interesting. So South Dakota, North Dakota, also recreational use. Nebraska, that is where you would sort of have medicinal use, because right now it is fully illegal in Nebraska. What's interesting here is some industry experts that I've spoken to, they say with the more red states that we can get in order to classify this as recreational use legalized, the closer we get to federal reclassification. They actually pointed to an interesting comparison, which was same-sex marriage, which for a long time was state by state. By the time it reached 37 states, there was federal law that allowed for same-sex marriage. Now, it's a little apples and oranges, but they're looking at those ballot measures as a similar comparison for when we can expect federal laws weighing in this issue.
All right, this might be a look at the future here. Like, while some states debate marijuana, you got Massachusetts, which is actually looking at psychedelics. Talk more about what we're seeing here.
Yeah, you could consider that an even step further in expanding the drug market. So for psychedelics, I mean, we're talking about things like microdosing mushrooms, MDMA. A lot of it has been researched for therapeutic purposes, and so that's really where this ballot measure comes from. You do have Senator Elizabeth Warren saying she would support the legalization of psychedelics if, and this is a big if, there was a governing body that oversaw it, where either all sales and use of the drug was reported through. So you do have support for it. A Emerson poll found that about 50% of Massachusetts residents would vote in favor of this. But again, I think that there's still a little bit of a touchy understanding from Americans as to the use of psychedelics for medicinal reasons.
See what happens. All right,
Definitely.
Brandon Gomez, thank you so much. Appreciate it.